Welcome everyone. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of reptilian shapeshifters. This concept piques curiosity and skepticism alike. Do these mysterious beings actually walk among us undetected, blending within humanity? Let's explore this enigmatic topic.
It's intriguing how this idea challenges our understanding of reality. Could it be a metaphor for hidden political agendas or something more literal? Are we seeing a reflection of our fears or something we need to investigate further?
I'm fascinated by the cultural angle. From ancient mythologies to modern novels, there's always been an obsession with shape-shifting creatures. Could this be an archetype reflecting deeper societal anxieties? It's worth discussing.
Absolutely, Ryan. And let's not forget the psychological aspects. Could believing in these entities be a way for people to cope with the unpredictable world around us? Maybe it's just a psychological trick we're playing on ourselves.
Those are some compelling points. By dissecting these angles, we might uncover more about human nature and societal fears. Now, as we proceed, consider this. What do reptilians symbolically represent in our society, and why does this myth endure? So, delving into the historical origins of reptilian shapeshifters, we encounter a rich tapestry of mythology. From the Naga in Hindu and Buddhist traditions to the varied serpent-like deities across cultures, these creatures have been a consistent presence throughout human history. What does their persistence tell us about the collective human psyche?
You know, it's fascinating how these myths invoke the duality of nature feared yet revered. The Naga, for instance, is often portrayed as wise yet dangerous. It adds complexity, raising questions about balance and struggle within ourselves. Do these stories serve as allegories for the internal battles humanity faces?
Definitely, Guy. And it makes you wonder about the symbolism of transformation. These myths emphasize adaptability and change. In a way, shape-shifting mirrors personal growth and societal evolution. Could the allure of such narratives stem from an inherent desire to transcend limitations?
There's certainly an allure, Ryan, and perhaps a deeper fear too. Culture shape these myths partially to explain the unexplainable. The fear of the other represented by the reptilian form might reflect anxiety about changes or threats in society we can't control. Isn't it curious how this seems to repeat across generations?
There's a continuity to these narratives that hints at universal truths or concerns. From fear and transformation to power and deceit, reptilian myths encompass fundamental aspects of the human experience. As we ponder why these stories endure, should we also consider how they influence our perceptions of authority and control today?
Indeed, Michelle. In such stories, the reptilian often holds positions of influence or wisdom but incites fear through unpredictability. They reflect our ambivalence towards power both coveted and criticized within society. How much does this resonate with our view of leadership today?
That's a compelling point, Guy. In literature and media, leaders depicted as cunning often shapeshift to hide true intentions, drawing parallels to real-world suspicions. Perhaps these myths continue to endure because they provide a framework for questioning authority. Do they give voice to those doubts that whisper about hidden motives among us?
And by facing these myths, do we challenge those fears, or perhaps find them affirmed? The endurance of reptilian myths as metaphors might suggest a tendency within us to question the seen and unseen. It's an invitation to remain vigilant of both internal and external realms.
As we've seen, the historical perspectives on reptilian shapeshifters offer rich insights into human nature, symbolism, and societal constructs. Even as we close this section, unresolved questions linger about why and how these myths sustain. In reflecting on the power of myth, might we also discover truths about our own reality and willingness to explore it? Transitioning now to modern theorists and conspiracies, we find ourselves amidst a labyrinth of speculation and creativity. The theory of reptilian shapeshifters has captured imaginations, leading to diverse interpretations. Are these beliefs merely fantastical, or do they reflect deeper societal concerns?
It's really striking how these theories have been popularized. Figures like David Icke suggest that reptilian elites control global affairs. While it sounds bizarre, could it be that these theories resonate because they simplify complex political mechanisms into understandable narratives?
Absolutely, Guy. These ideas often surface during times of political instability or distrust. Maybe they serve as a dramatic lens through which people can express dissatisfaction with hidden power structures. In a way, it's like creating a modern myth to explain today's challenges.
That's a valid point, Ryan. Yet, such theories can be dangerous. They might distract from real issues and perpetuate fear. We must ask, where does the line between myth and reality blur, and how might this impact our actions and perceptions? It's fascinating yet troubling.
Indeed, Sonia. The allure lies in mixing fact with fiction, creating compelling narratives that can sway public opinion or even incite discourse. Are these conspiracy theories a reflection of a deeper need to believe in something beyond our control, perhaps as a coping mechanism?
That's fascinating, Michelle. It seems like these stories persist because they tap into fundamental fears and desires. The allure of uncovering a hidden truth can be as thrilling as it is intimidating. Could this reflect our intrinsic curiosity and suspicion of authority?
And let's not forget the role of media, which often amplifies these ideas. Through films and books, the archetype of the hidden antagonist thrives. It's like these conspiracies find a home in the collective imagination, thriving in times when truth seems elusive.
The issue is whether these narratives foster critical thinking or merely sensationalize our fears. They often thrive on ambiguity and fear, urging us to question everything. But how do we ensure our questioning leads to understanding rather than paranoia?
As we've explored, the modern lens on reptilian shape shifters reveals much about trust, authority, and our quest for meaning in a tumultuous world. These myths continue to captivate and provoke dialogues about truth and belief. As we conclude, are we perhaps challenged to differentiate between entertaining myths and reality, daring ourselves to seek clarity amidst chaos? Transitioning into the psychological interpretations of reptilian shape shifters, we navigate the fascinating intersection of belief and perception. What makes the mind so captivated by entities that defy traditional reality? Are these beliefs serving a deeper psychological role in society?
It's intriguing, Michelle. Often, these beliefs manifest during uncertain times. They might represent personifications of our subconscious fears or uncertainties. What if the reptilian archetype is a projection of the unknowns we face in daily life?
That's an interesting take, Guy. Believing in shapeshifters could be akin to the escapism offered by fiction. People might find comfort in fantastical explanations versus confronting harsh realities. It's a form of psychological relief, don't you think?
I agree, Ryan, but there's more to it. This belief might also reflect a deeper distrust in the familiar. Shapeshifters blur lines between reality and illusion, echoing our concerns about authenticity and deception in the world around us. How do these fears influence our ability to trust?
The appeal of these myths might lie in their ability to articulate anxieties about identity and control. Could it be that engaging with such narratives enables people to explore themes of power and transformation in ways that feel tangible yet safely removed from their personal lives?
Absolutely, Michelle. Stories of shapeshifters can embody the fear of losing one's sense of self amid societal pressures. The shapeshifter myth is perhaps a metaphorical discussion on identity fluidity and the struggle to maintain autonomy in a rapidly changing world.
And, considering societal perspectives, these myths might encourage individuals to challenge the status quo. Shapeshifters disrupt norms, prompting introspection about conformity and rebellion. Perhaps they're an invitation to question rather than blindly accept the familiar.
That's insightful, Ryan. But these narratives can also trap us in cycles of suspicion and doubt. If everything's a potential deception, where does that leave our capacity for genuine connection? How does one balance healthy skepticism with trust?
As we conclude this section on psychological interpretations, we're reminded that these beliefs are multifaceted, mirroring personal, societal, and cultural complexities. As we ponder their ongoing relevance, might we discover that they're less about external threats and more about navigating our inner worlds? As we explore the cultural impact and media representation of reptilian shapeshifters, we see these myths have permeated storytelling and film, often highlighting societal fears and fantasies. How have media interpretations shaped our perceptions?
Media has definitely amplified these myths, often painting them as villains or enigmatic figures. It's intriguing how such portrayals play on our fears of the unknown. Could it be that media reflects deeper societal concerns about disguise and deception?
Absolutely, Guy. Movies and literature often use shapeshifters to explore themes of power and identity, tapping into archetypes familiar to audiences. They create a space to explore what lies beneath the surface. But do these narratives end up reinforcing stereotypes?
That's a critical point, Ryan. These depictions can sometimes border on the sensational, which might skew public perception. While they entertain, do they also risk oversimplifying complex human emotions and societal issues by externalizing them?
Interesting thoughts, Sonia. As these stories evolve, we must consider their impact on how we view authority and authenticity. Do they encourage critical thinking about leadership, or do they merely offer a form of escapism?
They definitely challenge perspectives, Michelle. By personifying authority figures with reptilian traits, media often critiques leadership qualities, encouraging viewers to question motives. Could this skepticism reshape societal norms over time?
And let's not ignore the potential for these myths to inspire transformative thinking. By pushing boundaries, they invite audiences to reimagine what's possible, perhaps even encouraging societal growth in unexpected ways. Could this be their silent, empowering contribution?
That's a hopeful take, Ryan, yet the romanticizing of rebellion through myths might also mislead. It raises the question, at what point does fiction influence reality, shaping our beliefs and actions beyond the screen?
As we've seen, media profoundly shapes and is shaped by cultural narratives around reptilian shapeshifters. They offer a lens through which to explore power dynamics and identity. As we conclude, we're left to ponder how these myths challenge or reinforce our world's status quo. Are they just stories or catalysts for real change? Now moving into scientific criticism and debunking, we question what makes people hold on to such unfounded beliefs. Could they be shielding vulnerabilities or mistrust in science? Let's unpeel these layers.
It's critical to understand that many claims lack empirical evidence and disregard scientific consensus. Belief in reptilian shapeshifters often stems from a misunderstanding of reality, don't you think?
Definitely, Guy. Often, pseudoscientific ideas thrive on anecdotal evidence. People find patterns where none exist because they're seeking explanations for complex issues. So, could this reflect a deeper need to make sense of chaos?
Absolutely, but it's also crucial to consider how cognitive biases like confirmation bias reinforce these beliefs. They selectively focus on what aligns with their views, ignoring counter-evidence. How do we shift this mindset towards critical thinking?
Engaging in open dialogue and promoting scientific literacy might bridge this gap. Could fostering skepticism in a constructive way help debunk such myths without alienating believers?
It's about balancing skepticism with curiosity. Science evolves by questioning yet grounding those questions in evidence. Thus, shouldn't our approach be more about exploration rather than merely debunking?
Exactly, Guy. Educating on how the scientific method works could demystify the process. In doing so, can we empower people to distinguish facts from fiction, ultimately reducing vulnerability to such deceptive narratives?
It's vital to tackle misinformation at its roots, where it feeds on fear and uncertainty. Encouraging resilience and adaptability in thought could aid in challenging these myths. How do we ensure that this knowledge permeates communities?
Science offers tools to navigate uncertainty, yet beliefs and myths like shapeshifters reveal our existential vulnerabilities. As we unravel these tales, are we not urged to reflect on our own fears and the power of critical thought in overcoming them? As we delve into the relevance of reptilian shapeshifters in modern society, let's consider, do these myths simply entertain, or do they uncover hidden truths about societal dynamics and human behavior?
It's fascinating how these myths persist in the digital age, where information and misinformation spread rapidly. In many ways, they serve as an allegory for our times where we grapple with truth and deception. Are these myths reflecting our digital anxieties?
I think you're onto something, Guy. Reptilian myths could symbolize the control and alienation people feel in a world dominated by unseen forces, like algorithms and powerful corporations. Could these narratives be awakening our senses to resist homogenization and assert individuality?
Indeed, Ryan. Yet we must also consider if these beliefs are a response to a perceived loss of agency. In a rapidly changing world, perhaps they bring a semblance of control, allowing people to externalize fears and seek agency against these elusive others. How does this impact our societal cohesion?
These myths, while entertaining, can also obscure reality, skewing our perceptions of power and influence. Can understanding them through a societal lens help us better engage with real-world challenges and build resilience against manipulation?
Absolutely, Michelle. By dissecting these myths, we're encouraged to question motives and unearth truths in our narratives. This could foster a climate of inquiry rather than blind belief. As we become more discerning, doesn't it empower us in confronting real issues?
That's a valid point, Kai. Yet these stories also remind us of the age-old tension between curiosity and fear. Engaging with them could potentiate social growth if handled with critical reflection. How can we harness this potential to cultivate positive change?
But if these narratives push too far, they risk deepening divides by spreading distrust. Navigating the line between skepticism and paranoia is crucial. How do we encourage a healthy balance that strengthens societal bonds rather than weakens them?
In contemplating the relevance of reptilian shape shifters, we unveil not just fears of the other, but pathways to understanding and confronting internal uncertainties. As we move forward, do we have the courage to discern myth from material, using this clarity to foster unity in an ever-complex world? As we draw our discussion on reptilian shape shifters to a close, let's summarize key insights. These myths have shed light on our cultural fears, societal dynamics, and the human psyche. Could the resilience of these stories reveal our enduring quest to understand power and identity?
Absolutely, Michelle. They prompted deep reflections on how narratives shape our perceptions of control in a complex world. These tales challenge us to discern reality from myth, urging us to remain open yet skeptical.
And while they entertain, they also serve as a reminder of our innate curiosity and the human tendency to question authority. These myths encourage vigilance, but also the courage to imagine better realities.
Indeed, Ryan. However, as we unravel these tales, we must guard against deepening distrust. Balancing skepticism with trust is essential for maintaining unity. Are these myths nudging us towards healthy discourse or steering us into isolation?
As we ponder these questions, may we find strength in understanding and empathy. In discerning fact from fiction, we aim to build a more cohesive and insightful society. Could this be the true legacy of engaging with such myths?